I'm Spencer Mazyck, and this is another installment of our legal guide to starting a technology company. Joining us to discuss financing your venture is Lori Hoberman. Lori chairs the Emerging Companies Venture Capital Practice at Chadbourne Parke. Welcome, Lori. This segment was tailor-made for you, so thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Spencer. Thanks so much for having me.
So as you know, there are various stages to financing your venture, but for today's discussion, let's just focus on the early stages. So if I'm just starting a business, what are good sources of growth capital?
Ideally, you have wealthy friends and family. And frankly, you can sleep at night taking money from them.
And if I don't?
If you don't, the next best source is probably some of the angel networks, angel investors in the city. I always tell my clients, first you go to friends and family, assuming you can sleep at night taking money from them. If you don't have wealthy friends and family, or you're uncomfortable doing it, angel networks sometimes offer a really good way for people to find money.
Okay. And are there government grants, like philanthropic government grants? And if so, like what kinds of technology companies would be better suited for those?
Well, some government grants just focus on women-owned or minority-owned businesses, small business administration grants. Those are terrific grants to go for. There are also angel networks, actually within New York City, that focus on particular types of businesses. And one in particular, a group called Golden Seeds, only looks for women-owned or women-managed businesses.
Okay. Yeah, and I think I read something, too, about maybe if you're doing clean energy or maybe if you're in the health field, there might be grants.
Niche plays,
right.
Exactly, niche plays. And you got to be smart to look for that stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's not a time at the early stages to hire an investment banker that's going to go out and help you find the money. Early stages, you got to be scrappy and smart and look for the right sources of investment for you.
Well, and in attracting investors, though, is there any way to get around parting with equity capital?
One of my favorite ways to bring on board money in the very beginning of a company is through something called a convertible note, which looks like a loan. So the investor actually loans the company money. And the company says, all right, we're going to convert you to equity, but only at our next funding round, which means the company gets to take the money that the investor loans and leverage it to create a lot of value, hopefully, for the company. And then they can go out and raise a more institutional funding round at a much higher valuation. The investor gets the benefit of better terms, and the company gets the benefit of using money without parting with equity at the very early stages.
No, that sounds great. It sounds like convertible notes are the best form of seed security.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, walk us through an example, though, because let's say that you're starting a health IT company, and I am this angel investor. I like what you're doing. Of course, I have to be the angel investor.
Right, and health IT is such a hot space, so you picked the right one.
Exactly. And so I have $100,000 that I want to invest in your company. I give you the $100,000. You give me a convertible note. Walk me through the steps. How do I end up with shares in your company?
All right. I'm going to assume that you are a savvy investor.
Yes, of course.
So you're going to ask me for something called a cap on my pre-money value when I convert at the next round. You're also going to ask me for a nice discount on that
conversion discount.
Conversion, right. So the note that you're going to get back is going to probably have something like a 10% discount. And maybe it will also have a cap on the value that you actually convert at. So if my venture investors come on board at, say, $6 million pre-money, you might have been smart enough to negotiate a $4 million cap. So not only will you get a discount, but you'll convert at a better rate.
Oh, wow.
And I don't mind that deal either, because you've given me $100,000 that I get to go build my business. And building that first part of the business, creating the first part of the value, is the toughest thing to do.
Okay.
And if I can do that without giving away equity when my company's basically worthless,
right,
your $100,000 is incredibly valuable to me.
So tell me this, who are better sources of growth capital, VCs or angel investors? Or does it even matter, really?
It depends. It depends on how much. So $100,000, angel territory, clearly. But what's very interesting is we're starting to see VCs at those earlier levels also. So VCs you would never imagine coming in for the $1 million, $1.5 million amounts, which are small for most VCs. They're coming in with the hope of reserving a spot in a later round.
Okay. And so VCs, they typically invest on a fully diluted basis. Without getting too technical,
Absolutely.
Can you tell us what that means?
It means that every share that you have outstanding, including options which might not be issued at that point, but are granted, so in other words, the shares haven't been issued, those are treated as being outstanding. And what VCs do even on top of that is they say, we're going to also assume that you have 10% of shares tucked away in an option pool. We're going to want those to be treated as outstanding as well.
The option pool, of course, would probably be for employees that you reserve.
For employees, for consultants sometimes, but mainly employees.
So now the question that I think everybody's been wanting me to ask is, how do you find these highly sought-after VCs? Where do we go?
You network, and you use your network to find them. And once again, it's being scrappy and being smart. So there are events going on, especially here in New York City, just about every night of the week. And you can go pitch your company. You can be critiqued by some of the VCs that you might want money from, but you can network and find them. You can also network through your attorney, through your accountant, and use their connections to get in front of the VCs also. What I find the best thing to do is to have somebody with a connection help you get in the door.
Okay. Well, and then is there sort of a wish list for VCs? Are there things that VCs look for in the ideal investment?
Yeah. Yes, a company that makes money. but typically what a VC will want is to see a teaser document. The VCs don't have the time to look at 50-page business plans, so don't spend your time on a business plan yet. Do a 2-page teaser. It answers 5 questions: who you are, what the problem in the industry is that you address, what your solution to that problem is, who the market is, what are the demographics for buying that solution, and how you're going to reach that market to make money from it. Those 5 things, 2 pages, and that's the type of document to use to get into a VC.
When 2 pages doesn't sound like a lot, but so how do you make yourself stand out at 2 pages?
It's an exercise, and it's a very healthy exercise for an entrepreneur to do, especially an entrepreneur who has built this business and loves the business and doesn't know how to stop talking about it. And it's that passion that an investor wants to see, but not in 2 pages. 2 pages, quick communication of who you are, what you do, how you're going to make the world a better place, and how you're going to make the investor rich.
That's great. I think that's a great suggestion. Well, thank you for being here with us today. Like I said, tailor-made for you, Lori. Tailor-made.
Thanks so much, Spencer.
Lori Hoberman of Chadbourne Parke. Stay tuned for the next installment of our series. But in the meantime, for more information on this or other topics, subscribe to BloombergLaw.com, and you can follow us on Twitter. Thank you for joining us. Bye, everybody. Great time.